Nation as well, and I want to say Kuksjam to all our Secwepemc relatives that come out here. We come from the largest indigenous territory in so-called BC, Secwepemc Uluk, and it's 180,000 square kilometers, and it's massive and it's beautiful, and we come from the land of the spilling waters where all the glaciers come from, all the water that feeds these creeks, that feed the life in these creeks, they all come from our glaciers. And climate change is really impacting our glaciers as well. And so what happens, we got to think about what happens when all of these glaciers melt, and what happens to our rivers, and what happens to our salmon. And we can stop this climate change, and we can make some changes in our own lives, eating local, stop consumption. That's the biggest thing that we've learned being out on the front lines, on these tiny houses, living throughout the winter time in these tiny houses with little tiny wood stoves, and just staying warm in like 6 feet of snow out there, because there's lots of snow, and that's what this pipeline wants to go through, is massive amounts of snow, because more than half the year is snow up there, and that's where all our water comes from. It's those glaciers, those cold glaciers that keep the temperature of our rivers at a certain degree so those salmon could come up. But climate change is affecting that, and our salmon are going deeper, and our salmon are mushy by the time they're getting to the salmon run, the spawning grounds. So that's one of the things. We have an artist. We're going to go back to 520 Alexander Street, and anyone out here watching or live streaming, come meet us. We're going to be marching. We're going to be marching down to Hastings and down Hastings, so we can send our prayers for all of our brothers and sisters, because this is all connected. This pipeline is connected to the continued genocide of our people. These man camps that they want to house 1,000 construction workers. When my auntie here said, we're standing in the direct path, we're stopping the man camps. So the man camps are the construction workers, 1,000 construction workers to come and lay these pipes on our land that don't have the consent. Indigenous women, Indigenous families, Indigenous men, and children are saying no consent. When someone comes through, when you say, no, I don't consent, and they're forcing their way still through, those are violations of our Indigenous and human rights. Those are complete violations. We're already saying no, but Canada is still coming forth, and we're going to pick it up, and that's why we're here on the streets today. We shut down Victoria with a big, loud demonstration yesterday as we did a 22-kilometer march from downtown to Island View, which is a 22 kilometers, and there was elders there, and there were seniors there, and they were 80 years old, and they walked that 22 kilometers in the hot sun. Those were warriors and dedication that shows that the fellow Canadians don't want this pipeline when they could do something like that. And so we encourage everybody to take certain actions on their own, inform other people that there isn't no consent for this pipeline. All those polls that are going around on media saying that half of Canada is for this pipeline, or half of BC is for this pipeline, that's all fake news, because I know that the majority of all of BC is saying no, this Trans Mountain will never be built.
So if we can have everybody to gather around in front of the tiny house here, we're going to take a photo. It's probably, let's see, the best side. What do we got on each side?